I have a different thought than what I had yesterday. Yesterday, pretty much my thoughts were that it seemed so weird, and the more I looked into it, the more weirder it became. So my thought now is that I'm convinced that it's maybe it was what do you call it? It's actually a set up stage. And like I was saying before, I'm convinced that it was like when you had it with when you had it with when you had it with the whole thing regarding Trump, right? And what happened. I'm saying I think what my thoughts are. I think that this thing it was staged. It was an inside coup, and pretty much something that the Secret Service planned to do. That's my take on the whole thing now. Because the more I look into it, the more I start realizing that they can't. No one can get that close. No one can get that close, especially this kid. And after I listened to this thing with listen to Anomaly, and also listen to Maze and Lucas give their take on it, it really changed my perspective. Because what Anomaly says is different from what Maze and Lucas said. Maze and Lucas had a couple of things about lines of sight and how it was a straight shot, straight shot, and how they were able to see him. Same thing Anomaly said. But what was different was that when he said about like how, how it was like a couple of things that made it different was just the fact that it just doesn't seem right. I mean, he was already going good. He was already going good with the polls. Everything was going well. I mean, he had a debate with Biden, and the Biden debate was kind of like showed how hokey Biden is, And then after that, you have this scenario where it's like, you have it where the scenario is that he's getting he's doing really well. He's doing well in the polls. He's being arrested and all that. No, being arrested, but being exonerated. Everything that kind of works to free him kind of messes him up. So this thing here, yeah, I know it's going to be one of those things where he's going to probably like win based upon the fact that what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to just get my bike block. He's trying to like do based upon the fact that it's like his ability and the fact he got shot. But I'm thinking what's going to happen is this, right? I think that this actually might actually hurt him. People are going to actually see it as a ploy, as an attempt, because for the news has been about Biden for a long time. Then you have this thing happen, and what end up happening is that it puts him in a bad light, because a good light in the fact that he's a hero, but it puts him in a bad light in the fact that it's one of those things where the more you look into it, the more you start seeing something that doesn't seem to make sense. Honestly, if he had just gotten shot and he stayed down, it would have been like, all right, but the fact he got up is kind of one of those things that give the little fish like, go fight, It was one of those things where it seems like it could actually be somewhat of a trouble because, like, I mean, yeah, he could have gotten really kind of clipped in the head if he just didn't turn his head to the side a little bit. If he didn't do that, he would have gotten clipped and really got killed. And also the thing about the guy himself, the kid, what's his name, did a summation, right, about his life. Mason Lucas did a 40-minute video talking about the teacher who knew him, right? And I mean, nothing short of MK Ultra, nothing short of the whole thing, like the mind control and how they use mind control stuff, from the 60s, and currently still using that, makes you really wonder and contemplate that maybe there's something here that's being done. And you're saying to yourself, why? I'm saying to myself, why? I don't understand why. I'm trying to figure out like this here as well. But I'm not going to make a sculpture. I'm not going to compromise my stance on making politicians. As much as I want to, as much as people tell me in the chat I should, I'm looking at it and saying to myself, no, I shouldn't mess with that. I shouldn't take my opportunities and my skills that I have to make art and use that to go ahead and make political art. I mean, people probably would buy it, right? People come out and want to buy a sculpture that I made for him with him in it. But my thought in the matter is, if I just kind of compromise on that, it'll ask me to make like all other politicians and stuff like that as well. So I don't know. Perhaps the best thing to do is just not to do that. So back to what I was saying before, I'm gonna turn the camera around so you guys see. Well, actually, when I get a little, I'll do it right now. I'll turn the camera around so you guys don't have to look at me. Look at my path and I'm walking. So this is pretty much here. I'm walking. There's some beautiful things here by the airport. That's so you can see some of the cool like landscape. Let me put my bag on my bike so you can actually see what it looks like. So my car is still in the shop, right? My car is still in the shop, and hopefully it gets fixed tomorrow. And so at last I get to enjoy my day off. That's really cool. I'll show you behind me what the airport looks like. This is the airport. There you have it, the whole airport. This is the world famous LaGuardia Airport. And pretty much Just kind of on my way walking home. I'm gonna give you guys a little walk as I'm walking. I'm trying my best to keep this camera smooth. I don't know. I mean, probably if I rest my hand on the bike and do it. Let's see if I can do it better this way. Rest my hand on the bike, maybe have a smoother ting, you know? Okay, well, I guess, unless I hit a bump. Yeah, I'm gonna hit a bump a little. Anyway, so for the most part, though, there's the glorious New York City right there. And so, yeah, so back to what I was saying before, when I looked at the situation regarding Mr. Trump, President Trump, you know, and then he goes along and he picks this new guy, J.D. Vance, to be his person. I'm saying to myself, like, really, Trump? Because, you know, I had this opinion, right? I don't like talking about him so much because I've been talking about, like, you know, get that bread and doing art and stuff. But just this one video, I'm going to talk, like, about how my opinions on the whole matter is of such, right? My opinions on the matter is this. I think that when he was the apprentice guy in the beginning, he had this thought that he'd be able to go into, you know, take a person, and he being the richest person in the room, he could make things so. But he had this weird idea that he can actually help change America, you know? And I mean, and maybe he did. Maybe he's able to, like, change some of the policies. Here's, like, the city with some new skyline buildings. Maybe I can zoom in so you guys can see that. Let me see. Let's see if you can zoom in and see you guys see the city a little better. You see the city? This here is New York City. This is from New York City, from Queens. And you can see all the stuff, all the cool buildings and stuff like that. You see all that? That's New York City right there. Right there's the Freedom Tower. All the way across, you got the Empire State. And you got all the cool buildings, big giant new buildings they have. And so pretty much, just kind of walking. So my thing is this, right? So this is pretty much, as I'm doing this, just kind of like just trying to, okay, thank you. That's it. Alright, so let me go ahead and just show you some of the stuff. This is the overpass. What happens is this, right? You have this scenario where as you're going and doing stuff, my thought is that he must have thought that Congress or being a president was going to be like a superpower that would really help and change the world, you know. But in fact, it's not really. Like I've said it many times, it's not the presidency that's the one that changes the world. The presidency is just a little lady figure on the front of the boat, you know, the figurehead. The president, what he does, he talks to world leaders and stuff, and makes deals with us. So what happens? Deals for us. But as for the sake of the president, he can write and do executive orders and stuff, and they have an administration. But the bottom line, according to the Constitution and all that stuff, he's like second fiddle to the Constitution, to the Congress. The Congress and the Senate are the ones who made the laws. It's the laws, you know. He has veto powers, but he thought for some reason when he went to become a president, I think, in my opinion, that he was going to help people. So he picked a bunch of bad people, 40 people of his cabinet, Mason Lucas was saying, all the people that he picked ended up becoming, like, not all of them, but majority of them, they don't want to re-vote for him again, you know, and then the other ones that, you know, they don't want to do that again. They're just kind of at the point where they're like, you know what, just 1 second. They're at the point where they're just like, you know, they don't want to re-elect him. They don't want to re-elect him. They don't have to get a whole new people. And then he goes and picks this guy who straight up hated him. I don't know about you, but if anybody who ever had one of my friends who I had as some kind of like a thing that said to me, called me a Hitler or something like that, they would not be in my cabinet. You know, somebody called me a name like that, you know, they would not be in my cabinet. Heck, they wouldn't be my vice president. He's thinking that whole apprentice thing again. So my thoughts is this, right? I think he's working a different plan now. I think whatever he was, is not what he is right now. I think what he used to say about ivermectin and stuff like that, that's when he used to be his real self. When he learned about something, he learned about all different laws and things, that's when he was his real self, you know? And that's when he was his real self. But then he learned about JFK and things like that. Anyway, long story short, who shot JFK? Like Mason Lucas was saying, his eyes were open and he just stopped talking about stuff. He stopped talking about ivermectin and started talking about, you know, all different things, secure stuff. He started like going more and more into become he's the one of the pharmaceutical companies. He's like called himself the father of Grandpa Moderna, you know, the father of the vaccine, he says, you know. So you got this guy here doing this stuff and then he gets shot, right? I mean, he was kind of like, I think maybe it's one of those things where maybe it was a play they had in play to kind of set it up so that just in case something happened, it'd be like, whoa, sympathy plea kind of thing, you know? But then one day they reversed the thing, and then now he has no complaints against him with regards to the Supreme Court and then the presidential immunity stuff. That kind of went boom. And then you had it like, I guess maybe they weren't planning for that. You know, people play like, quote unquote, the 5D chess thing they talk about. What if it's not like that at all? What if it's like they just have these things, these contingency plans? They got plan A, plan B, plan A, plan B, and they go through these things. And what happened, I'm thinking, to how it goes back to. So my thought before that was, when you're doing these things, you have a plan that maybe this might work, it might be that might not work. What happened was, in my mind, it was all opinion, by the way, that if he puts people in his cabinet that are negative or bad, he's going to change them. Because he, being the apprentice guy, would always want to give people the benefit of the doubt, not knowing these people in Congress are snakes. They're snakes, all of them, right? Snakes, and see, once you get to a level where you don't make stuff, and all you do is talk, you become a snake. That's like the devil. The devil had no arms, had no legs, right? And all I could do was talk, right? When he was the serpent in the garden, and he was able to sway mankind by just talking to somebody about talking to Eve. She could be better if we just vote for him. So Eve voted for him, and there you go. He got control of the world because Eve voted. Not so much because Adam didn't do anything. You know, as a matter of fact, I said this before. When you look in the scriptures, it's God told Adam not to eat from the tree. He said, "Day you eat from the tree, you will surely die." And surely die means separated from God, because separation from God is straight up death. You know, it's like the umbilical cord. You know, you get cut from the umbilical cord, and the umbilical cord was God. And being able to know the universe, know the names of all the animals, be able to live forever. You know, you didn't have to even eat. You know, you could have all the joys in the world. He said, "The day you eat from this tree, you're surely gonna die." So what ended up happening? They went ahead and they disobeyed God. They disobeyed God. They brought to life a whole new dynamic called sin, and brought death into the world. The Bible says it, that when Adam brought death, it didn't say Eve brought death. It said Eve was deceived. Eve got tricked, but it was Adam. Adam knew full well what he was doing when he ate from that tree. Even to the point. So if you look in the scripture, right, Genesis, it says it, that God told Adam to die from the tree. Then God knocks him out, hits him in the head, puts him to sleep. He pulls out his rib, and he makes a woman for that rib. So from the bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, that woman, right? So he made a woman. But you know, it doesn't say God ever, from the first chapter, it never said that he told Eve anything. He just said, just relax, have a good time, go wander, right? What happens is that you have the scenario where it's like Adam was told not to, specifically, directly, entirely. As a matter of fact, when she ate from the tree, nothing happened. Nothing happened. When Adam ate from the tree, both their eyes were open. And because of that, here we are today, right? So, my thoughts is this, right? So, politicians are a bunch of talking snakes, right? They do what they do. They talk. A bunch of talking snakes. And what they do is like, so when Trump went to do the apprentice on these poor souls, he thought it was going to be one of those things that's going to actually make life better. You know, what ended up happening was that they don't run on money. They don't run on billionaires. They run on human souls and influence. You know, like the demons do. You know, because what happens is this, right? The most powerful thing in the universe is a human soul. Now, what do you mean by human soul? So human will, their ability, their desire to do stuff. That's what a soul is. You know. So when you have a soul situation, you're not in a situation where you're just like talking about like person's soul and they keep it in a box. No, you got a person, the strength of. Wait, did I even put my helmet on? Goodness. I didn't even strap my helmet thing. I'm gonna drive on a helmet. Goodness, like an idiot. Here it goes. Just make sure I put this on. Snap this helmet thing in place. There he goes. Look, there's a guy right there. He's videotaping this girl right there. So it's yeah, so pretty much. Yeah, YouTube, you see that? So okay, so what happens is this. You have this scenario where he's just like looking at it. And then so creep. Do the creep. So Anyway, so what happens is like, you have the scenario where, for the most part, what I'm saying is like, human soul is their intellect, their will, and their ability. Right? So if you get somebody to commit to doing it, for example, you go to a job, right? And the job has your soul, right? The job has your desires, your interests, your focus. The job has you, and it has you in such a way that you can't do what you want. You're told when to use the bathroom. You're told when to eat your breakfast, right? You eat your lunch. You eat your dinner. Take your 15-minute break. That's what the job is kind of like that. They're your master. The devil wants to be your master. So when these people, they ask you to vote for them, they're asking to be your master. He says, "Believe you me, you trust in me. You can be." I'll be your master. That's what happens. You follow me. I will show you how you can actually, do this or get what I'm telling you. If you just allow me to, you just serve me. My thoughts on the matter is that, so when Trump was like, apprentice-minded, he thought he's gonna save these wretched people, gonna give them, give them a new hope and a new point, and by sheer will and dignity, he's gonna go ahead and make people better. But then you start learning about some stuff he did that wasn't right. He started doing something that was against the Constitution, some things that were not great, the bump stock stuff. He started doing things against freedom of speech. You can't do anything against freedom of speech. If you mess with freedom of speech, you fall in the category of un-American. Because what happens, you take away our freedom of speech, you take away our ability to protect ourselves, we're just open for whatever the government wants to do. And the purpose of the government is not for us, not for them to organize and direct our lives. No. The purpose of the government is to make sure we, the people, have the right life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What that means is that our liberties that's given by God are not for sale. Not for sale. Not for sale for the highest bidder. You want to go and protect your family, you do that. You want to have a house on your land that you earned, you go do that. That's what it's talking about. It's not talking about like, you can pursue whatever happiness you want as long as you hurt somebody else, and I don't steal from anybody else either. So when you start doing these things, what ends up happening, long story short, is that you start messing with people. And then the government, like they say, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. It's the 9 worst things that can ever be said, because the government doesn't know. Whenever government is what you call force, right? And it's a force to be reckoned with. A force that once in motion doesn't stop. For example, income tax, okay? Income tax was temporary. Water, man. I can hear some water coming up. Flip it so you can see. There's water. Okay, now I have to ride straight, otherwise I'm gonna slide and die. So, woohoo! Let's go. Okay. So, got totally hit there. That was like, ow. Wow, that was a lot more water. That actually feels great. That actually feels great. Okay, so what happens is this, right? Government is supposed to be like, when you think income tax. Income tax was made to be temporary, only for war. And these people like the taste of it. They love the taste of income tax. And so what happens is it becomes one of those things where they'll keep it going. You'll always have a war they're worthy to fight. I say, how are we going to build the roads? I don't know how they build the roads before income tax. Same way. Anyways, long story short, what I'm trying to say is this: like, you have this thing where he went in thinking he's going to save the world, but now pretty much, he got the people to think certain things, but then you've got people thinking, there's some of the MAGA crowd, right? Once upon a time, there was a time where I really believed in him, and so I didn't vote for the first election. I want to let you know that I couldn't vote for either him or Hillary. I couldn't do it because I was like, evil, both sides, right? So it's like, forget that. You guys do for a while. That was one. Number 2, it was like the second one I tried to vote, and I voted. I'm living here in New York, or my vote doesn't count anyway. But I still went out to vote for the second, and that's when I actually voted for him. Wow. Let me show you guys something here. Real quick. This right here, right? You see this? This is a sign, right? And what this sign is that this thing gets hit by a truck like every day, right? Like every day. So you got pieces of a truck, the truck hits it and breaks this thing every day. And so what it means, like, Yeah, we want to grab it here. Is this a magnet? Yeah, it's not a magnet. It's not a magnet. It's some kind of, looks like a rubber circle thing. I can use it for something. I don't know what. Just put it on my bike. Okay, I'm gonna walk. All right, so here's what happens. I'm gonna find cool stuff in the city. So here's what happens, right? My thoughts of the matter is that I think Trump was not. He might have been naive to getting the shot because people actually died, and people actually died in some false flags and stuff. But him getting snipped in the ear by a kid who was allowed to be there, that's definitely inside. There's no other way. You cannot get within 5 feet. It's like I go through airport security every single day. I mean, they pulled me over for like a little toothpick in my bag. Okay, so I mean, when you have a situation where this guy outside the range, but still within shooting distance, can actually get close enough to clip him, regardless of what you think about MK Ultra and all these other things, he has a scenario where it's like he had bad intel. He had bad intel and bad Secret Service. He had bad Secret Service because they didn't do their job right. Remember, some other things they were supposed to take a bullet for him, and they didn't. They were fumbling with their weapons, as you saw in the video. The people were crying out, saying, "Look, there's two people said separately, officers, look, there's a guy on the roof. There's a guy on the roof," and they pointed him out, and they didn't listen. Which goes to show you exactly the government many times does not listen to the people. So when we go to vote this year, it's probably a good idea to really consider what the heck you want people to do. Someone said once, he said, if you don't go out and vote, right? None of us vote this year. I mean, there's going to be people who vote. But if you tell everybody, just forget it. This whole system is crazy rigged. Both sides are corrupt. Thinking about RFK possibly. But even he's corrupt because he grew up with a corrupt system as well. His ideology is bad. We're not going to find, the only person who's going to ever be right for us is Jesus, really honest. Because everybody else has some kind of closet skeletons. I mean, they threw as many things as they could at Trump, law-wise, impeachment-wise, all kinds. They even tried, the assassination thing. And it just doesn't, it's unstoppable. But my thought is this. I think it was inside something because no one can get that close. Hello, good day. No one can get that close. The other thing, too, is like, if you get that close, it's because they allow you to get that close, The other thing, too, is that there's too many things that doesn't make sense. He could have been shot by a second shooter if there was a coordinated outside event. This poor kid, I don't know, maybe he's in something with MK Ultra or something. Maybe he had something to do with that, or he abducted. They say he had some kind of connection to BlackRock, a lot of things. He wasn't, they say everybody who knew him, he said he was a super good kid. He wasn't depressed. He wasn't a sad kid. There's a teacher who taught him, said he was impressive, he was a smart guy. And so that's kind of like that tell he even had a good family. When you listen to Amazing Lucas' situation, explained that he had a great family, mom-dad relationship intact. I mean, is it possible they could have grabbed him and done a river thing to him, River Tam, where they would have triggered him with some kind of manipulation code, and all of a sudden he becomes like a weapon? That's something there, So my thought is this, please consider everything that you see on the thing regarding this guy, regarding all of them, because the way they're making the story worse and worse every day. Because I mean, like when you really think about it, no one has anything unless they have permission to do so, or they have a plan to do so. Some people think like they go out and they go and they get drunk or go drink and stuff, or they go to the parties and they do these things thinking that it's going to be like no planning, but they have a plan. They hope to meet somebody, they hope to do something, they hope to have fun. I was talking to some of my coworkers, and they were saying something about like how there was a time where they got so drunk they blacked out, and I'm like, I've never been drunk at all, but for a person to actually be drunk so bad, are they going to be like, are they going to be hey, look at this. I'll show you this real quick. This paper here. It says this here. It says you must sign a new written service agreement with an authorized reporter in your zone during the time period listed below There's something there. Your zone is the Queen Central. What the heck is that? What the heck is this? You must sign a new written service agreement to authorize Carter in your zone during the time period listed below. What the heck? Some kind of something. How you doing? Hi, good to see you. Hi, good to see you. Good day. So there's that. That's one. I wonder if that has more stuff. But okay. So my point was saying that, be careful what you see. Everything you see is subject to alteration, subject to sense, having to make sense of things. But I'm just gonna say, like, pretty much one of those things, you gotta be careful, okay? And I don't know, I'm not making a sculpture for him because that's not what my art's for. My art's for doing cool things, making arts of politicians. One of the things I kind of swore off on that I won't do, unless somebody gave me a really good offer, then I'll be like, okay, well, I'm gonna consider. But until then, no. Okay, so just want to say that. Okay, I'm home now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sign off again. This has been a good day. I have to go mail a package in the mail, one of my artwork sculptures and stuff that I worked on. Looking forward to seeing how that goes. So, God bless you. Thank you so much for liking my channel, for watching my show. I want to just thank you. See how long it takes me to get from work? About that long. So anyway, for the most part, I just want to say thank you. God bless you. And again, like and subscribe to my channel. I have more stuff coming, more cool stuff. I'm going to make some more sculptures again. Do that again because right now I don't have my car. Until I get my car back, I have to, wait and see. All right, so God bless you. Talk to you soon. All right, and please like and subscribe to my channel. All right, bye.